Okay, yeah, welcome to today's live video. Um, when women undermine you, feminine leadership, boundaries, and receiving as the Queen of Wands. We talked about the Queen of Wands before in my Glamour Magic video, and that was like the beginning of me touching on the Queen of Wands energy. But from my previous videos, I'm kind of flowing with what wants to come up and what wants to be talked about as it relates to feminine receiving, feminine wealth, um, money activation for women, okay? The Queen of Wands is very important, okay? So, before I dive deep, I want to set the intentions for the space, okay? Um, for all of you who are here with the intention to learn, to grow, to integrate this wisdom and prosper from it, I welcome you into this space. Thank you so much for being here. But for any of you that have any malicious intentions, for any of you that um are just seeking to absorb this energy and absorb my energy, send out any kind of evil eye, you are not welcome here. So you could just go ahead and click out of this video. Um, for those of you who are not here with pure intentions, okay? And let this energy or let this space be a space of wealth, prosperity, and expansion, okay? So this topic matters to me right now because recently I had a subscriber, a longtime subscriber, comment on one of my or the live video that I did, the collaboration live video that I did with Shane. You can go check it out. It is called When Millionaire Men Provide if you haven't watched it already. And um I love you so much, Dee Dee, if you're watching this. I'm merely using this as an example. But Dee Dee, my longtime subscriber, just commented on the video, and she commented with a very authoritative and um, basically she stepped into teacher mode, right, in the comments, which is beautiful and empowering, right? I absolutely welcome that. However, um, there are boundaries that I have cultivated in my life over the past 2 years specifically, and recently I've decided to step fully into the embodiment of the Queen of Wands energy, the energy of being the light, right? Being the light and not just being the light, but also demanding respect in that light. And so, um, I set a boundary. Well, basically communicated my boundary with love, and she received it absolutely so well, and was able to basically understand and reflect and see how or what I was pointing out in establishing that boundary, which was beautiful. And I absolutely love when I can establish boundaries, communicate boundaries, and shine, okay, and still be appreciated and not be or feel like I am attacking someone, feel like I am threatening someone, right? And I want to really tie this in, okay, because this experience in particular started bringing up a bunch of memories for me in relationship to women that I have had to set very strong, well, actually, I wouldn't say that I had to set well, actually, I did. I did have to set very strong boundaries with these women. But in the moment, experiencing that dynamic with those women, I didn't really know what to do, right? This is something that I've had to learn over time. And especially from since 2023 up until now, I have been through some experiences with women when it comes to clients that I have worked with, when it comes to I want to say mainly clients that I have worked with in the past 2 years, but also in my personal life, also with my mother, right? Like the closest feminine relationship that I have. Also with um my audience, and kind of just understanding when someone doesn't respect you and when someone does respect you, right? Showing up in a position of authority in my own life, deciding that I'm going to run my own business, deciding that I'm going to make money on my own terms, deciding that I'm going to do life in my own way and receive from that, there is no room for me to allow my light or my confidence to be dimmed in any other area, because that is going to affect, and it has affected, my actual flow of income. Okay. As a matter of fact, I did so for the feminine abundance session that I'm offering inside of Safe to Receive, where I'm going to be going through your personal money blockages, handling blockages, feeling blockages, thought blockages, habit blockages when it comes to money. These are the same things that I did for myself. I went through this process for myself when it came to understanding what's holding me back in my money journey, in my wealth journey. Okay, that there's because I got to a point where I was like, okay, I want to expand. I want to go to the next level. I don't want to keep feeling like I'm doing all of the intentions, the creativity part, and I'm skipping over the shadow work, which is super, super important. And that's why I included that inside of Safe to Receive via Valued and Worthy, where we dive deep into the shadow work that you need to do around money, around the way that you think about money, and really move through that so you can understand how you are going to create moving forward, what you need to create moving forward. And so I applied all of these things to myself. That's why I'm putting myself in the position to share and teach um these practices and this knowledge with all of you. Once I did that channeling for myself, okay? When I say channeling, this is me basically doing an energetic reading on myself and deciphering what's coming up. And a really big blockage for me had to do with my experience with women, okay? And how I had experiences with women in my past that had kind of culminated, and I had never done any real assessing of like what what the transformation and the transmutation needs to be from these experiences, so that it wasn't continuing to affect me moving forward. Okay. And a lot of those experiences were related to, I could go down the line of like when I was in college, right? I had a really, really painful experience with women, right? It was older women, typically women who hold a level of authority, right? And that's what the Queen of Wands represents. That's what the Queen of Fire represents. She represents authority. She represents power, but it's feminine. It's the ultimate feminine confidence and courage, and when it's balanced, right? One of the very first traumatic experiences I had with that was when I was in college, and I was getting financial aid, and I was getting a scholarship to go to college. And there was one year, which was my senior year, it was my final year, that I was having issues with figuring out like the application to reapply for my financial aid because every year we had to reapply. Um, so this year I decided to go into the office to get some help with reapplying because I felt like I wasn't doing something right. I go into the office. There was this black woman. She sat me down to talk to me and figure out what I needed help with. And I'm explaining to her what I'm needing help with and why everything's confusing and this and that. And she's looking at like my past applications for the past 3 years. And she's like, "Oh, it looks like you were filling it out wrong for the past 3 years," or something like that. Something that I wasn't doing right. And so I'm like, "Okay, well, that's why I'm here because I mean, I was still getting my financial aid, so there was no way for me to know that I was doing something wrong." Um, so I'm explaining to her my situation and she flags my file because I was filling out the application wrong for the past 3 years. So what she decided to do was assume that I was trying to cheat the system and get financial aid when I didn't, qualify for it or something like that, which I did qualify for it. Um, so what she did was she called her overseer, okay, to come into the room and assess the situation. Now, her overseer, her manager was an old white woman, okay? And this woman really, like, I don't know what her deal was, but she came into that room and she was like, she got the message from it was so long ago, so I really don't know what was going on between the back and forth between the lady I was talking to and her manager. But the manager um told me, she said, "You've been filling out your application wrong." And that's not, like basically she was trying to say that was like fraudulent or something, that I was being fraudulent and that I was doing, basically that like I was lying on my application. So this woman decides that I need to be reported to the financial aid department. And she completely cancels my financial aid, okay? And she doesn't help me apply for the next year. Like the situation was so crazy. I was like, I came into this office for help and you decided to flag my application, report me as of doing fraudulent, behaviors or whatever, basically lying, trying to get free money, and you have now canceled my ability to continue going to school without having to worry about money, okay? And that situation was crazy traumatic for me. I remember crying because of that situation. And this lady was she didn't give no Fs. It was like she did not want me to continue going to school. And I remember feeling like just flabbergasted, right? About the whole situation. I was also very flabbergasted because I actually ended up calling my dad to come and try to help me. He didn't do much in that situation. He just was like, "Oh, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be." It wasn't okay. Okay, it wasn't okay. He wasn't helping me with the money. So here I am trying to figure out what I'm gonna do, and I ended up having to take out a loan. That was something that I did not want to have to do. Other people advised me to drop out. Other people advised me, to just, quit because what's a degree gonna do anyways? But I'm not a quitter. I'm not the type to literally, I've been going here for 3 years. I'm in my last year and you wanna sabotage me? So, that was one of my, like, very first experiences with women just on some evil, hateful type stuff, okay? There was no way that that situation was anything but a woman, like, women, just deranged women wanting to wanting to sabotage you, wanting you to feel like you don't deserve to be confident, you don't deserve to shine your light, you don't deserve to get a degree, right? You don't deserve to prosper. That's how painful that was for me. And that wasn't the only time, okay? That was just one of the times. And after that, I continued to kind of experience this dynamic with women where they, want to talk over me, right? It could be simple things like when I'm talking about something that I'm really passionate about or that I really want to do. Like I can remember friendships, right, where I'm talking about something that I really love. I had a friend who would always feel like when I was talking about something that I loved, like I was overshadowing her. And so she would come in and say, "Well, you're not the only one who knows how to do that. You're not the only one who likes to do these things." Um, Women who would see me doing certain things in my life, a lot of the times it was friends, right? People who women who was considering my friends, you know, and they would see what I was doing. I would share what I was doing openly. Like, look, like this is what I'm doing. This is what you can do too, right? And they would take my advice and pretend like it was them, right? Pretend like it was them who came up with the idea, or never give me my accolades, or never thank me, or never acknowledge, like, actually, I got this from you. Okay, actually, I learned this from you. Um, I can even remember a time when I was a teenager. I was really passionate about graphic design, and I would create these little graphics, like photographics, right? If you took a picture of yourself, like a bland, boring picture, I would take that picture and I would redesign it using a photo editing app. And I was really good at that. So I used to just do that for free, like for people, because it was fun. And I would send them their photo edit and they would, like, a lot of the times people would love it and they would appreciate me, but I did have some women who would take the picture that I made for them and pretend like they made it themselves. And then I would comment under the picture like, yeah, you know that I did that for you, right? And I did it for free." And they would delete my comment, or they would, like, try to hide and make it, and that was the type of thing that I used to experience, okay? I can remember even when I was in middle school, okay? And this is what really made me on edge about being friends with Caucasian women. It's just the truth. I have a lot of Caucasian women friends now. So that's nothing to say like I'm against Caucasian women. Listen, there's a one of my favorite people is like a Caucasian woman. So it's not to say that I have something against Caucasian women, but I did have some trauma, okay? Because I can even remember in middle school, um, I was like playing this game. Um, it was like an avatar game where you like can buy a bunch of stuff and create your house and create your avatar, and like, and it's something that you kind of build over time because you get your coins by playing the game. And I remember this um this girl that I used to be friends with in middle school. One day, she asked me if we could switch players or whatever like that and pretend to be each other for a day. And, like, basically, like, basically, she was like, "Oh, let's share profiles," or whatever like that. I shared my profile with this little girl, and this little girl started deleting all of my stuff on the game. She was deleting all my stuff in my house, all my stuff on my avatar. Like, she thought that shit was funny. You know what I'm saying? Um, I can remember times where girls would stick gum in my hair, right? Because I used to always wear my natural hair. My mom was not like, she didn't used to press my hair out. She didn't used to like, um, I was never the average black girl. I was always the weird token black girl growing up. So there was times that girls used to put gum in my hair. Like, I'm honestly, it was on some bullying type-ish, okay? When I was super young. So fast forward, okay, I'm approaching 30 years old in November. So fast forward, I'm almost 30 and I'm moving through these money blocks and I'm having to process all of the times that these women in my life have caused me to feel like I don't deserve to shine. I don't deserve to be great. I don't deserve to be beautiful. I don't deserve to be magnetic. I don't deserve to be who I am. Even though they're not like just outright saying that, the behavior of these feminine relationships in my life absolutely communicated that very thing to my soul, to my subconscious, is that you don't get to shine. I'm going to take all your light. I'm going to make you feel like shit about yourself. I'm going to make you feel like you're wrong, like you're immoral, like you don't deserve to have anything. And even for the women who wasn't doing like super mean stuff, it was like, well, I'm gonna talk over you while you're talking. Okay. I can remember interviews when I started actually pursuing my passions of being an online coach, a spiritual guide, and as of recently, really focusing my expertise in the feminine energy space. I can remember times I was invited onto interviews, right? Women inviting me onto interviews. They want to interview me. They want to talk to me. They want some of that light in their platform or in what they're doing. And some of the times I was respected, okay? Some of the times I was respected. I can think of one good time that I felt like honored and respected 100%. One good time. I was invited onto several interviews. So that's saying, I would say maybe two good times. Now that I'm thinking about it. Two good times where I was respected and I was honored by the women in that space. But the other one, like the other experiences, it was like those women just invited me onto the interview just so they could tear me down, just so they could talk over me, just so they could, you know, make themselves feel like they are above me by um cutting me off, cutting me short, or allowing other people to disrespect me, other people that they have on the panel to disrespect me and like not thinking anything of it. Those were the things, right, that started to really seep into my self-esteem, my confidence, and really huge boundaries that I realized that I had to start setting with the most important feminine relationship that you're ever going to have in your life, which is the relationship with your mom, okay? Or whatever mother figure, primary mother figure that's in your life. I absolutely had to set that boundary and start to really notice, okay, my mom likes to talk over me sometimes. Okay, my mom doesn't really like listen to like what I say at times. She thinks that she knows better than me still and da 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 da. Right? Because I'm still at one point still a child in her eyes or still whatever. Okay. Um, but fast forward to now, okay, I'm having to move through that. And in moving through that, I'm really asking myself, how can I truly receive the level of income that I'm wanting in my business, right? Because this is not something that somebody is handing out to me. And even in those scenarios, oh my gosh, don't even get me started with the feminine the toxicity of the feminine connections I have had in the workspace. Okay, they have not been pretty. I can remember when my first this wasn't my first job. I believe this was my second job. I worked at Rallies. I was like 17 years old. Nothing but women, okay? New Orleans, Louisiana. The actually, I think I was younger than 17. I think I might have been 16. I don't know. But these women were so mean. They were so mean and they were jealous. I mean, they were just not nice people whatsoever. And um if anybody like coming up to the counter that was a guy would like want to talk to me a little bit longer than normal, or um because they felt I was like so sweet or so open or so docile, they would just kind of take advantage of that, and see that as an opportunity to bully me. Um it happened again, right? When I worked another job, and it wasn't necessarily with women who were my age, but it was a specific manager. She was elderly, okay? But this woman had it out for me. She actually had it out for a few people at that workspace. But it again, that same pattern of a woman who has authority, but she's using it to undermine yours. The same thing happened when I worked as a waitress, okay? So, um I don't want to go too on and on and on about all of these experiences. I'm pretty sure that y'all get the picture by now. But all of these experiences do and did impact my confidence levels, and that was something that I had to work through and realize, Asaya, if you want to get to your next level, if you want to expand, if you want to receive all that you can receive in life, you are gonna have to stand on business. Like, it's like no more games. No more games, okay? You are gonna have to stand on business, okay? Because this is a pattern, and in my channeling, it was a specific money block for me. And the healing that was gonna come from that was in me shining my light anyway, was in me realizing that just because she's standing against me, or she's trying to intimidate me, or she's um trying to sabotage me, or whatever the case, just because this resistance is coming up does not make me any less of worthy, does not make me any less of a goddess, does not mean that I'm not worthy of shining my light and um being the woman that I'm meant to be, right? Like, I had to let that go and fully step into, I am my own woman. And if you try me, or if you play with me, I have something for you. Not necessarily retaliation, but I am going to stand on business. I am going to stand on my morals, and I am going to let you know through my actions that this is not how you are going to be able to roll with me. So instead of just idly now, right, in my experience and in my life, instead of just idly sensing something going on or sensing, right, like sensing that this dynamic in the relationship with a woman in my life is getting the boundaries are getting tested, and I know that she's operating in a way that doesn't align with my highest self or doesn't align with my highest values or my values for myself in my life. I'm not gonna ignore it anymore, right? Because before I used to ignore it, I used to turn the other cheek. I used to just be like, okay, like I guess this will stop at some point. No, I'm very confrontational now. Not confrontational in a way to where like I want to fight you, but I'm confrontational with love and with truth. I'm confrontational in a way to where I'm going to step in and advocate for myself. Nobody ever taught me how to do that. Nobody ever taught me this is how you advocate for yourself. This is how you stand up for yourself. This is when somebody does this or somebody does that. This is how you show up and stand on business. Like that was never taught to me. Okay. Khadijah S is here and says, thanks for sharing. Some women can be problematic. And I would say the problem is there because the level of light that you have to shine is huge. The level of light that you have to impact other people, other women, the world is sensational, okay? And that is why if you have been experiencing things that are very similar to what I'm talking about, or at right now or at any point in your life, right? For me, that was why I realized that I was experiencing this because I'm not normal, okay? I have a really bright, unique, and powerful light. And when I'm stepping into a leadership position, when I'm stepping into a position of authority in my own life for myself, I have to own that. Otherwise, why would anybody want to give me their money? Why would anybody want to pay me or invest into the thing that I'm offering to them or the thing that I am saying that I can guide them through? Why would anybody want to do that if I'm not stepping into my own authority and owning my own light? Not every not every person, not every woman, not every feminine friendship is, or I would say feminine relationship is actually an aligned relationship, and that's something that I had to learn because I was very open and free and like thinking that everybody was like me for a very long time, thinking that every woman has the same heart as me for a long time. Okay, and I had to learn the hard way, okay? Especially when years ago, I would say in 2019, I wanted to collaborate. Actually, my business coach said it would be a good idea for me to start collaborating with other women influencers and other women creators. This was when I was mainly on my Esaia Mystic Instagram page. I had about 14K followers, and I had a lot of influence, and I wanted to expand because this was the beginning of me stepping into the coaching space and offerings, right? And delivering my offerings. So the advice I was given was to, collaborate with other women, reach out to other women, reach out to other women creators. Now, I collaborated with men at this time, during this time period, did not have any of the like anywhere close to the same issues I had with the women that I was collaborating with. Okay. And this is why women genuinely tend to have trauma with women relationships and relationships with women. Okay. Because, and then this is also why some women are just like, I don't even need any friends. Like, I can just, a lot of women feel safer emotionally